I'll keep these questions short so nothing's like over your head. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm terrified right now.
Cheers.
When you get a chance, could I grab a scotch? All right. Through your life, you've been an activist, a writer, an author, called many things. What adjective do you like?
My trade, it's not really a profession, it's a craft, is good old journalism, really. I mean, I don't mind being called a journalist. If someone else wants to call me an author or a writer, that's fine. There used to be an argument for saying writer, because on your passport, old British passports used to have a space you had to fill in for occupation. If you had writer, you could change it to waiter with a stroke of a pen at any border crossing where they didn't like members of the press.
Oh, okay.
Because waiter would be the only other thing I could do.
You think so?
Waiter,
that would be your other occupation?
Waiter or barman. I mean, I'm too old to be a male prostitute.
The book starts where you come across being referred to as the late Christopher Hitchens. Now, am I to understand a little bit that this memoir grew out of maybe a fear of your own demise?
Not a fear, but a sudden awareness of it. I just turned 60, and I hadn't cared about being 40 or 50 or 55 at all. But 60 did hit me more than I thought it would.
60 is important.
It is, yeah. Whether you want to or not, you will find your thoughts turning retrospective. And they were doing that anyway. So well, probably this would be the right time to write a memoir.
In the book, you're looking to establish the dualities of your life, your personality. You talk about the fact that you can see both sides of the argument or the issue that you're dealing with, but at the same time, you're a man of very specific arguments, and you don't seem to have a lot of sympathy for the opposition.
No, that's not necessary. I mean, being objective about an argument is different from being even-handed or fair-minded about it. I mean, I think it's an obligation to be able to understand the other person's point of view. The problem with that is sometimes you'll think, actually, this is more persuasive than I thought it was. But it does happen that your own opinion should be modified if you're arguing honestly. The better points the other person makes will, at the very least, they'll sharpen your own. And they may often make you think, actually, maybe that bit of my case isn't that brilliant. In my book, I describe how I've been visiting Iraq on and off since the 80s, actually, excuse me, since the 70s, since Saddam Hussein first took power, and how my mind gradually changed almost 180 degrees against Western intervention in Iraq, to the conclusion that I'd been wrong about that, and actually there was no alternative but the removal of Saddam Hussein. I think it might be interesting for people to read, because I don't just produce a certain amount of evidence, but I try and show how my mind was working and what sorts of reasoning impressed me and what didn't. That
change of mind cost you a lot of friends.
Oh, I made some nice ones too.
Okay. Well, one of the things right now is the Tea Party. I mean, as someone who's from a background of political activism, how do you see the movement?
I went to a rally they had in Washington the other day, big one. I found it rather sad, actually. There was a guy standing just in front of me with a sign saying, "Today we came to defend the First Amendment, but when we're back, it'll be for the Second Amendment."
It's troubling.
Yes, but they were trying to be threatening, but they just weren't. I mean, it was pathetic, actually. And it's the same when you get death threats on the phone. That means that's one person you don't have to worry about. The one you have to worry about is not going to tell you.
So do you feel like the Tea Party is going to make any sort of effect on the elections that are coming up?
People who are worrying in this country are the small but growing number of people who are turning towards Muslim jihad. There are not very many of them, but there are going to be more. And a lot of them would have been born here, and they're being propagandized with it. That really is serious, and isn't taken seriously enough. I think people think it's so small that it can be dismissed, but it can't.
But we saw it here in Times Square a few weeks ago.
Yes, and you're going to see it again.
Why do you feel that is? Why is that going to grow here in the United States?
Well, it's growing everywhere.
And so this is just going along with the global movement.
It's part of the civil war within the Muslim world. Part of that civil war is being fought out here.
Well, let's get back to your memoir and some of...
Oh my God, had we strayed?
Yeah, we've completely forgotten about your book. Let's get back to this.
Well, no, because the book is a lot to do with...
Oh, absolutely, because it's about all your work throughout your career, and these are major issues to what you've written about. But at the same time, a lot of this is also about your lifestyle. You know, if you do a Google image search of you, one of the first images that comes up is you getting your thighs waxed.